Hello everyone, a blissful morning all. Welcome back to English class. Today we are gonna see lesson 4. The topic of the lesson, snake catcher, right? The topic of the lesson, snake catcher. And my dear students, do you know anything about the snake catcher? Yes, exactly. Your thinking is correct. Snake catcher, which means the person who used to catch the snakes. பாம்புலாம் பிடிப்பாங்கல்ல, எஸ் நம்ம போய் பாம்பு பிடிக்க முடியுமா? நோ, there is a specialist there, right? So this is a lesson is all about a person snake catcher, right? Yeah, so you have to listen the lesson carefully and try to answer the follow the questions. Got it, my dear? Yeah, look at the first, read the passage and answer the questions that follow. Chandan Singh was an active and alert snake catcher, right? Chandan Singh was an active and alert snake catcher. Yes, obviously, he want to be very alert and active. Why? Because he is catching a snake, not a cat, right? So he must be alert and active. Am I right? Yeah. So Chandan Singh was an active and alert snake catcher. Perhaps it would not be an exaggeration. It is not an exaggeration. இதை வந்து மிகைப்படுத்தி காமிக்கல. To say that there was no living person who knew more about the different species of snake than Chandan Singh, right? And as an expert, he knew that poor knowledge and long-standing fear about snakes had led to several of them, right? As an expert, he's a very expert in snake catching, and he knew the poor knowledge and long-standing fear about the snakes, right? He doesn't have any fear about catching the snakes, and led to several of them being attacked, even though most of them were harmless. Sometimes he got attacked by the snakes also, but it won't hurt that much, right? So everything is harmless. Harmlessனா என்னது, அவ்வளோ தூரம் அதை பாதிக்கலைன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க, right? So it was a hot Sunday morning. It was a very hot Sunday morning and ideal for snake searching. So this is a perfect time for snake searching. He had been searching very carefully. So he had been searching the snake very carefully, but without success. But there is no success. He couldn't find even a snake, right? For over an hour. Over an hour, he's searching a snake, but he couldn't find any snake there. So when a faint rustling sound caught his ear, rustling which means செடி கொடிலாம் அப்படி அசையும் போது சத்தம் கேட்கும்ல, yeah, that is called rustling. That is called rustling sound caught his ear. So in the while he caught a rustling sound. So he spotted he could find that later half of a large snake disappearing slowly into the tangle of grass. Disappearing slowly in a tangle of grass. Tangle which means a confused grass. புல்லு செடிக்குள்ள போச்சுன்னா நம்மளால ஈஸியாக ஃபைண்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா? No, it's very difficult, right? So tangle of grass, very confused grass, right? and he laid his fork like stick across the snake back, right? So he laidna அந்த கம்பை வந்து அந்த snakes போகிறதுக்கு பின்னாடி நீட்டுறாரு, and pressing it hard against the ground, and he picked up the snake by tail and swung it in the air. Usually can you imagine the picture, right? How the man catching the snake, he just catch the tail of the snake, and it is like a swinging means தொங்குது, தலைகீழ தொங்குது. வாழை பிடிச்சி இப்படி தூக்குனா தலைகீழ தொங்குல. Usually they used to catch the snake like that. Am I right? Yeah. And he had done this innumerable times before. So many times he done this before. But all that remained now was to get his collecting bag from his sling bag. Slingna side la தோல்ல தொங்கப்பட்டிருப்பாங்கல. Yeah, that is a sling bag, and pop the snake into it. So suddenly there came a loud hiss and almost instantaneously, right? Instantaneously which means immediately. Okay, உடனடியாக. Instantaneously which means immediately. He felt a sharp prick on his finger. So immediately he got a very prick on his finger, and perhaps it was either a cobra or a kite. He don't find which is a cobra or a kite. And his immediate reaction was to release the snake. So கையில் கடிச்சிச்சுன்னா என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? இமீடியட்டாக அதை ரிலீஸ் பண்ண தானே நம்ம யோசிப்போம். Yeah. So he released the snake, which dropped to the ground. He quickly placed his foot on its tail and applied a slight pressure to prevent its escape. ஸோ கையிலேருந்து கீழே விட்டுட்டு அது மறுபடியும் ஓடிடாமல் காலை வச்சு மெதுவாக அதை பிடிச்சி மறுபடியும் எடுத்துறாரு. He quickly placed his foot on its tail and applied a slight pressure to prevent its escape. Then he focused his attention on his hurting finger and saw 2 beads of blood. This must be the spot where the snake fangs had entered, he thought. So he hastily wiped. So hastily, which means emergency, right? Which means emergency. Emergencyக்கு நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம், பாம்பு கடிச்சோம் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, 2 பக்கமும் மேலையும் கீழையும் கட் பண்ணி விட்ருவாங்க. நம்ம ரைட் கட் பண்ணி விட்டு அந்த பிளட்டெல்லாம் வெளியே எடுக்கிறதா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எய்டாக இருக்கும், ரைட்? ஸோ த சேம், he focused his attention on his hurting finger and saw 2 beads of blood, and this must be the spot where the snake fangs and had entered, he thought. So he hastily wiped out of the razor blade, which he always carried for such incident. So usually he used to carry that blade in his hand and began making cuts above and below the bite. So he made a cut above and below the bite. எங்க பாம்பு கடிச்சிச்சோ அதுக்கு மேலையும் கீழையும் லைட்டாக கட் பண்ணி விடுறாரு. So blood flowed freely. So blood flowed, ரத்தம்லாம் கொட்டுது. And he sucked vigorously at the cuts he had made to get out as much of the poison as possible and spare it out. So அப்படியே ரத்தம்லாம் அந்த பாய்சன்லாம் அது வழியே முடிஞ்ச அளவு வெளியே போயிட்டுருக்கு. So as soon as he began to move, he became conscious. So he became very conscious, நினைவு இல்லாமல் போகிற மாதிரி வர்றாரு, of a growing pain in his body and finger, which by now he was swelling rapidly. He was able to reach the road and managed to halt a passing moisture, right? ஸோ அவரால் கொஞ்சம் தூரம் நடந்து வர முடியாது, அந்த ரோடை தாண்டி அந்த ரோட்டுக்கு வர வரையும் அவரை மேனேஜ் பண்ணி நடந்து வந்துடுறாரு. ஹால்ட் விச் மீன்ஸ் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணுறாரு, ஸ்டாப் பண்ண அந்த ரோட்டுக்கு எது வண்டி வந்தால் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணுற அளவுக்கு அவரால் வந்துடுறாரு. ஸோ வென் ஹி ரீச் த ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் ஹி ஸ்டில் ஹேட் த ஸ்னேக் வித் ஹிம். ஸோ வென் ஹி ரீச் த ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் ஸ்டில் ஹி ஹேட் அ ஸ்னேக் வித் ஹிம். திஸ் வாஸ் நாட் acceptable to the hospital staff, but after the Chandan Singh explained his reasons for wanting the snake to remain alive, it was carried away in its bag by one of the nurses to a safe place in another room. He was instructed to lie down on the operating table and was treated successfully. Very successfully. And later on, almost every staff member and the doctor in the hospital came to view the bite. The fact that he, an experienced snake catcher, was bitten by a snake whilst attempting its capture seemed to amuse them all, right? And they said it was for the first time they had treated as exceptional case as that of Chandan Singh. இது மாதிரி ஒரு கேஸை நாங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணதே இல்லை, இது ரொம்ப டிஃபிகல்ட்டான கேஸ்ன்னு சொல்லி சந்தன் சிங்கை பற்றி எல்லாரும் பேசுகிறாங்க, ரைட்? Hope it's clear. You have to read the lesson twice and thrice, right? In your book, page number 21. In your book, page number 21, you have this lesson. Please read the lesson twice and thrice, and then you have to start to do the exercise here. Got it? Let me read the exercise. Pick the correct answer. It would be right to say that Chandan Singh. It would be right to say that Chandan Singh. What will be the answer? Knew more about snakes than any other person. He know more about the snakes any other person. அடுத்தவங்க ஸ்னேக்ஸை பற்றி தெரிஞ்சிருக்கிறதுக்கு மேலே இவருக்கு அதிகமாக ஸ்னேக்ஸை பற்றி தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும், ரைட்? ஸோ the answer is yes. So the answer is B, right? So the answer is B. As an expert, Chandan knew. எதுக்காக அவர் ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸ்? Most snakes are harmless. Because most snakes are harmless. That is the exact answer. Yeah, look at that. This is the answer here. Letter B and letter A, right? And here you have 6 more questions. Let me read the question. Why did Chandan Singh put his foot down firmly on the snake? Do you remember the story? Yes. Chandan Singh put his foot down firmly on the snake because he wanted to prevent it from escaping. அது எஸ்கேப் ஆகிறதுல இருந்து காப்பாத்துறதுக்காக தான் என்ன பண்ணார், அவர் காலை வச்சு அந்த ஸ்னேக்கை பிடிக்கிறாரு. ரைட். So why did the snake catcher always carry a razor blade with him? Why did the snake catcher always carry a razor blade with him? Why? Because the snake catcher always carried a razor blade with him so he could make a cut above and below a snake bite if it is recurred. Got it? Yeah, look at the third question. Why did the hospital staff do with Chandan Singh? So what did the hospital staff do with the Chandan Singh? The hospital staff asked Chandan Singh to lie down on the operating table and was treated successfully. என்ன பண்ணாங்க, அந்த டேபிள்ல படுங்கன்னு சொல்லி படுக்க வச்சு சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ஆபரேஷன் பண்ணி முடிச்சிட்டாங்க. ரைட். Yeah, look at the fourth question. Suppose your neighbor is bitten by a snake. Before taking him to the doctor or to the hospital, what would you do to prevent the poison from spreading to the entire body? So நீ என்ன பண்ணுவ, இப்போ உன்னோட நெய்பருக்கு இந்த மாதிரி பாம்பு கடிச்சிச்சுன்னா what will you do? Right? So you have to write your own answer. I am not giving here any answer. Why? Because that is you have to write by your own answer. Right? What is in your mind, you have to write. Got it, my dear? Yeah, look at the fifth question. Why do you think the hospital staff was amused? Why do you think the hospital staff was amused? Because the hospital staff was amused because it was the first time they had seen a real snake catcher bitten by a snake while catching it. So இதுதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் அவங்க பார்க்குறாங்க இந்த மாதிரி ரியல் கேச்சர், ஸ்னேக் கேச்சரையே ஸ்னேக் அடித்தது இதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் அவங்க ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. அதனால அவங்க ரொம்ப amused ஆயிட்டாங்க. And Chandan Singh was lucky that a passing motorist saved his life. What do you think would you have happened if the passerby had not helped him? ஸோ அப்படி ஹெல்ப் பண்ணலை, அந்த ரோட்டில் வந்தவங்க தானே அவங்கள காப்பாற்றினாங்க, அவங்க பண்ணலைன்னா என்ன ஆகிடுந்துருக்குன்னு கேட்காங்க. Here also you have to write your own answer. But I have given my answer, you have to write your answer. Got it? And it would have been very difficult for him to reach the hospital, but being a brave person that he was, he would have eventually reached. Got it? Yeah. I have given the answers here. First 3 question answers here. Then 4th question you have to write by yourself. 5th question answer is here. And 6th question answer is here. Got it, my dear? Yeah. And here, make sentence with the following. Make sentences with the following. Then immediate reaction, then growing pain, innumerable times, and safe place. Right? So these are the words here. You have to frame a sentence. Actually, I have given a sentence here. And my immediate reaction after the theft was to call the police. She was very worried about the growing pain in her stomach, and Geeta called her mother innumerable times, but she didn't pick up the phone. They moved to a safe place after the hurricane hit their house. Right? So, my dears, you have to learn all the exercise. You have to learn all the exercise. Only 3 exercises are there, right? A, B, C. So try to write all the 3 exercise in your note, right? In your note, and try to learn all the exercise. Hope it's clear. Thank you, my dears.